Good morning, students. Good morning, students. As in the previous video, we had discussed about the indirect methods, that is, Copernicus method to find the distance of inferior planet from the sun, that is Copernicus method. After that, we had discussed distance of superior planet from the sun, that is Kepler's method. And then we had studied about triangulation method. In triangulation method, we had observed to measure the height of an accessible objects. Now the second part, to measure the height of an inaccessible object. Both the objects we had discussed in our previous video. Accessible objects are those objects the top of that objects can be reached by us, and inaccessible objects are those objects the top of the height cannot be reached by us. So by the help of triangulation method, in this video we will try to find out the height of inaccessible object. Second method, to measure the height of an inaccessible object. To measure the height of inaccessible object, and for this method also we will apply a simple trigonometry which we had studied in the previous classes. And for this we will, suppose we had drawn a triangle. This is A, this is AB. Suppose this is H which is to be measured, this height H to be measured, and there are two angles of elevation, means from these 2 points, we are observing the top of the mountain. Suppose this is the mountain, and since it is the mountain, so its height is inaccessible. Suppose this is C and this is D. This is the distance x, and this is the distance small d. So by the help of simple trigonometry, we use that simple trigonometry and find the height of the tower. H, height of inaccessible object. This is to be calculated. This is, we have to calculate angle ACB, that is alpha, that is the first angle of elevation from point C, and angle ADB, that is equal to beta. This is second angle of elevation from point D, and the separation CD is equal to a small d. The distance separation CD is equal to a small d. Now in triangle ACB, in right angle triangle ACB, so from right angle triangle ACB, cot alpha is equal to base, since tan alpha is equal to perpendicular upon base, so cot alpha is equal to base upon height, h upon x upon h. Now in triangle ABD, in triangle ABD, in this triangle, cot beta is equal to cot beta is equal to base, that is d plus x, that is cd plus ca, d plus x upon h. Now cot beta minus cot alpha, cot beta minus cot alpha, cot beta minus cot alpha. Cot beta is equal to d plus x upon h minus x upon h, and from here we will get what? From here we will get d upon h, d upon h, and here h is equal to d upon cot beta minus cot alpha. I am writing here h is equal to d upon cot beta minus cot alpha, cot beta minus cot alpha. This height h we can calculate by knowing the value of separation between points C and D, and by knowing the value of alpha and beta. By knowing the value of alpha and beta and this separation, by knowing this separation, we can calculate the height h. So this is the second method to measure the height of inaccessible object by the help of triangulation method. Now there are some more methods. Some more methods to measure distance. Some more methods to measure large distances. Some more methods to measure large distances. Till now we had studied about the parallax method, then Copernicus method, then Kepler's method, then triangulation method. After that there are certain more methods, indirect methods to measure large distances. In that the first one is laser method. Laser method. What is this laser method? Laser stands for light amplification, by a stimulated emission of radiation. Light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Laser. I am briefing you about laser. What is laser? Laser is a monochromatic light having single wavelength, single frequency, and there are different types of lasers. It is produced by the help of stimulation of electrons from higher energy to lower energy to higher energy state, and there are various types of lasers, just like helium neon laser, ruby laser. These are lasers. All details of laser we will study in our higher classes, and this laser method is used to determine distance of moon from surface of Earth. This laser method is used to determine distance of moon from the surface of the Earth. Now, how this laser method is applicable? So laser method, distance of moon from the earth. Distance of moon from earth. Distance of moon from the earth. So this distance of the moon from the earth. So suppose I am saying that distance is s, the distance of the moon from the earth is s, and if the speed of laser light which we are sending from the surface of the earth to the moon, that speed of the light is c, and the time taken is t by 2. C is the speed of laser light, and t is equal to time delay in coming and going of laser from earth to moon. मतलब this is the time delay, in which time the laser light is going from the surface of the earth to moon and returning back to the earth. This is the total time, so we had applied t by 2, half of the time. So distance plus time, we get the speed. Similarly, second method is radar method. Second method is radar method. Radar method. This radar method stands for radio amplification, detection, and ranging. This is similar to the laser method, but there is one difference, that in case of radar method, we used to send radio waves. From the surface of the earth to any planet. Radio waves is sent and it is used for measuring the distance of the planet. Determine the distance of any planet from surface of earth. To determine a distance of any planet from the surface of the earth. And as you know that the radio waves has also the speed as in case of light, that is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So the same concept is applied here. Distance of planet from Earth's surface. This distance, suppose this distance is s and this distance is s, can also be calculated by c into t by 2. That time t is the same time of going and coming back, so t by 2 is the half time, and c is the speed of radio waves. T is time of coming and going. That is the time elapsed in coming and going the signal from the surface of the earth to the moon. So by the help of this method, we can calculate the distance of any planet from the surface of the earth. Laser method is used for determining the distance of the moon because moon is nearer to the surface of the earth and planets are far away from the surface of the earth. So radio waves are quite appropriate for measuring the distance of the planets, and laser is quite appropriate for the measuring the distance of the moon from the surface of the earth. The next method is, this is the second method, that is radar method. The next method is sonar method. The next method is sonar method. Third one is sonar method. Sonar method. Sonar method. Sonar method is just, so sonar method is the method to measure the distance of submarines or submerged rocks inside the seabed. So for that, light is not appropriate because light cannot travel with a fixed speed inside the water. So sound is the appropriate way because sound travels faster in medium. So sound is the appropriate way. Sound wave or ultrasonic waves are the appropriate method for measuring the distance of submerged rock or submarine, and for the sake of the same thing sonar method is used. So it can be abbreviated as sound navigation and ranging. Sound navigation and ranging. It is applicable to determine the distance of submarines or submerged rocks. Submarines or submerged rocks in seabed. That distance can be measured by the help of sonar method. Now, distance of submerged rock, distance of submerged rocks, as it is given by, if v is the velocity of ultrasonic wave, and t is the time of echo of that ultrasonic wave which we have sent from the sonar. So one side time is t by 2. V is equal to velocity of ultrasonic waves, and t is what? T is nothing. T is the time delay of receipt of echo. So t is the time, so half time of going, either the time of going or time of returning, that is t by 2, and into v, so velocity into time, we get the distance of submerged rock from the sonar which is situated inside the sea. So it can be calculated by the help of sonar method. So till now we had studied about the indirect methods and direct methods to measure large distances. First of all, we had observed about the direct methods to measure large distances. Then we had discussed about indirect methods, various indirect methods to measure large distances. Now we are coming to the discussion for a small sized object. A small size object. So can you guess what is the direct method to measure the small size object? First of all, what are the small size objects? It is quite curious thing, or quite full of curiosity, that the size of an atom or molecule can be measured by the help of instrument. What are that instruments? Can you guess that instruments? Yes, the instruments are microscope. By the help of microscope, we can measure the size of atom. So there is a question here. Can you measure the size of atom or molecule by the microscope which is placed in your biology lab? Obviously your answer is no. That I can't measure the size of an atom or a molecule by the optical microscope which is placed in my biology lab. So why you are not able to measure that small distance by that microscope, and how we can measure by the help of direct methods the size of atoms and molecules? So this is the topic for discussion, that direct methods for measuring small distances. Direct methods for measuring small distances. Direct methods for measuring small distances. So do you know that optical microscope optical microscope can use the light whose wavelength is 7,000 angstrom to 8,000 angstrom. 7,000 angstrom to 8,000 angstrom means, since the light which is falling on the optical microscope for observing an object has its wavelength 7,000 microscope to 8,000 microscope, so it is quite obvious that only that objects having this much range of sizes can be measured by the help of optical microscope. Means by the help of optical microscope we can measure only that objects whose size is ranging from 7,000 angstrom to 8,000 angstrom. But the objects having size much smaller than this range cannot be measured by the help of optical microscope. So size of atoms and molecules, size of atoms and molecules are of the range 10 to the power minus 8 to 10 to the power minus 10 meter, which is quite smaller than this value, So this size cannot be measured because that light which is falling on the optical microscope for resolution cannot able to resolve atoms and molecules. So for this resolution we use electron microscope. For this resolution we use electron microscope. Means electron microscope is used to measure the size of atoms and molecules which are of the order 10 to the power minus 8 to 10 to the power minus 10 meter. By the further advancement of the technology, we came across another much resolved instrument for the direct measurement of small objects, that is tunneling microscope. tunneling microscope having better resolution, having better resolution, having better resolution than electron microscope, better resolution than electron micro having better resolution than electron microscope. So all the details about electron microscope, tunneling microscope, their processes is quite large to be discussed here. So later on in higher classes you will study about these operating style of electron microscope and tunneling microscope. But for the measurement process, for the measurement of direct measurement of small objects, this is much for your knowledge. So that's all for today, students, and tomorrow we will discuss about the indirect method for measuring the small objects, indirect method for measuring the size of the small objects, that is oleic acid method, which is given in your NCERT. And after that we will discuss about the further topics. That's all, students. Thank you. Have a good day.